Well, let's get started. Got a lot to talk about today on The Well.
Welcome to The Well, where we talk about everything from the world to worship. I'm your host for today's show, Christiana Davis, and I'm here with Danetta, Pastor Donnie, David, and our special guest for today, Namdi. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it. I am Namdi, a 34-year-old son of some immigrants from Nigeria. Love the Lord a lot. I have a management firm. We help to develop and manage different nonprofit organizations. Nice. So from everything encompassing of a foundation, and the people are my motive. And so, yeah, I'm here. Okay. Thanks.
Well, that's awesome.
That's really good.
Big.
Yeah, that's
Thank
great.
you for your work, man.
Thank you.
For real.
Well, on The Well, we like to keep it real. So today we want to talk about something that has been headlining in the news. If you all haven't heard, former quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, Colin Kaepernick, may never play in the NFL again. His last signing opportunity was passed up after he made his, year kind of politically active. So what do you guys, think about that? What do you think about sports athletes kind of engaging in the political arena and the political climate of today?
What you think, bro? It's your first time
I first salute my brother. I commend him. I honor him. I stand with him, kneel with him in accordance. I think it's fundamental. I think it's very, as a young man in school, you read these stories about the civil rights movement. We always ask, what would I have done at that time? What would have been my participation in a movement like that? And I think Colin found his participation, and it's not unfamiliar for individuals who are athletes or whatnot to really make a stance in their own way. Mm-hmm. And we've never been surprised by the retaliation that our brothers have received in the past either. So I expected something. I didn't think it would come to this degree where, he by far he could start for a lot of teams on the NFL.
Right.
So to say that there's not a team that wants him is a lie. And I think it just kind of put the hypocrisy out there. And I've heard that, you got to say something's dirty before you can clean it up. And so now it needed something to be kind of put out in the forefront. So
it's real. I think it's such a big issue that's going on right now. The bigger issue is the fact that people are willing to go in the wrong direction because they don't want to admit that they're wrong. Like there's a book I read. It's called Mistakes Were Made, but Not by Me. And it's the willingness to agree with something that is totally wrong just for the sake of protecting your own heart, protecting your own mind. There's a lot of people out here that know Kaepernick, what he said was right, but they want to talk about the flag. It had nothing to do with the flag. If you want to talk about the anthem, let's talk about the second and third stanza where it talks about slavery and how it's celebrated in the national anthem. So we really shouldn't be celebrating none of that. But we're not about that. We're not against the world. We're not against America. But it's really just funny how this message has almost gotten lost. I support Kaepernick. I support the original cause, but I almost am sort of turned off by what's taking place right now because it's making a mockery of the kneeling, of going against police brutality, going against everything they stood up for because they just want to make the issue about something else and it's taken away from the original message.
They pretty much all lives mattered Kaepernick's stance. That's pretty much what they've done because his original stance was for black people and now they've turned it into, it's because Trump said we shouldn't kneel or it's because of the flag. Like, no, that wasn't his point.
Hypocrisy even in all lives matter. If all lives matter, then black lives matter.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But it's all lives except for yours. It never was about the flag, never was about the anthem. Right. It's about, boy, do what you're told.
Right.
Yeah, and I really like that point that you made, Dave, about the focus getting lost because when you think about it, even just last week or the week before that, the statements by President Trump to say, hey, let's fire these SOBs if they do that. Well, that's an insult for a president, the leader of the free world of our country, to come out, who's supposed to be our leader, who's supposed to conduct himself in a higher regard, to come out and to talk about athletes, whether they're black or white or Hispanic, as if they're just nothing more than property, right? Horses for our enjoyment and entertainment, but to almost dehumanize them,
right?
And say, we're going to cause you to suffer if you do this. Essentially, those athletes, they don't have to, right? They're paid, great lives, right? Sweet contracts, homes, all that. But they're saying, hey, I would rather sacrifice my reputation, my income, my whatever, to speak for the oppressed,
Right.
which is what we're called to do. And
Right.
so I think on the greater level, when people just look at it on the surface and say, oh, the athletes are doing this, you're forgetting about the cause. It's not about themselves so much. It's about the other people whose voices are being drowned out. And I think it's sad when the focus continues to get shifted away.
One really famous journalist, Janelle Hill, was kind of ousted by Trump because she used her platform to speak against his whole campaign, what he's used for the past year or so to fuel, injustice and racism and bigotry and all these ugly things. What do you think about her using that? A lot of people have called her, out of place for even, using her platform to talk about this. What do you guys think?
Again, I stand with my sister for being bold enough to say the things that she said and using her platform to do that. And the thing that, if we're talking about history, America being created out of the rebellion against Great Britain, we're looking at history. We also have to look at history in our context. We have never had a president that has necessarily been on our side completely. To speak to our issues have always been something they had to ad hoc, and unless it becomes a speaking point on news media, then we can talk about it. So I'm not necessarily surprised. I don't look at Donald Trump as any different of a president outside of my president, Mr. Barack Obama.
Yes.
So outside of him, I don't necessarily see a difference. And so when I see my brothers and sisters being ousted on TV and being reprimanded for their speaking out about our issues, that's normal to me. I've seen it in the history books. That's how it's been. I think the thing that is different now is we're in a day and age right now where we have forgotten about the orator and we've promoted the celebrity. And so we leave all of our actionary and our speeches to be given by men who are not trained, who are not even looking for that type of platform. Colin Kaepernick used his platform. I want to take a knee. I don't want to be the leader of this movement.
Right.
And so what we've done is we've done away with those people. We've done away with our Cornel West and our all of our leaders. It is history that you are signing up for a death warrant, right? And so we have left our celebrities, our athletes to become the orators of our movement, and that's not what they've signed up to be. They've signed up to say, I'm with you, and I will use my platform to shed light on, but we haven't done enough encouraging that we have enough men and women that are going to speak on behalf of us to where we collectively support them. And where is the new the Dysons? Where is the new Cornel West? Where are these men who have always been a part of our movement, who have spoken for us? So I think that's where I think we find ourselves perplexed as to what's going on, is because where Colin Kaepernick is supposed to have tapped out. Colin Kaepernick ain't supposed to say no much more. But we're now like, who's speaking, and we're infusing this level of responsibility to men who, frankly, just never signed up for this. So they signed up. I love to play basketball. I love to play football, and I will never allow my people not to be heard. And I'll use my platform. But I'm not saying that I'm signing up, and not that they're not capable of. I'm not speaking about capacity. I'm speaking about who has who we've allowed or who we've
depended. We depended on people to do things sometimes that are not quite like you said. Like we're reactionary more than ever. We're not proactive. A lot of people in the past were very proactive. We're reacting to everything. Even with Donald Trump, it's gotten to a point where, I'm not surprised by anything he says, and a lot of what he's doing, he's not dumb. He's intelligent. He's like, I'm going to divide. I'm going to say, watch this. I'm going to see how high I can make them jump with this. We're reacting emotionally. And when you react emotionally, you take away your tactical effort that you can come up with in your mind. It's like there's a quote that says, if you wrestle with a pig in the mud, only one of you is going to enjoy it. Right. You know what I mean? We're wrestling somebody who's enjoying this, and we're getting mad that we're getting dirty. Don't even get in there. It's like we have to think about different ways we can do it. It's just so many people that even with the sports platform, it's a platform for them to shed the light. But we can't get mad. Even LeBron said, he's like, kneeling is not necessarily what I'm going to do, but he's speaking out about it. So is he I'm not joking. I'm not joking on.
LeBron, I'm sorry, brother.
Yeah. No.
You need to stand in solidarity because that has been your role stand in solidarity.
So but is he not doing something?
I think that's also a function of our dysfunction in the current moment, right?
There's
the African American community is not in the level of solidarity that we have been. We're still asking, but why? We want to have our individuality in a time where We need to
Yeah.
sacrifice our individuality to
Right.
show that we are collectively the same.
Mm-hmm.
When they say we ain't gonna take the bus, was it? I remember
Yeah.
Martin Luther King said, "Don't ask what happens if you don't take the bus.
Just
Yeah,
don't take
just
it.
don't
Ask
take
what
it.
happens if you do."
Right.
And that's what. Don't ask about what me taking a knee is not my thing. Who cares if it's your thing, bro?
Right.
But this is what we're collectively doing.
Right.
We have to show that we are a collective force, and that's what we don't have. We have some brothers saying, that ain't my thing. I'm gonna give turkeys out on Thanksgiving. That's enough. We gonna show them that we good. And, nah, brother. Like right now, we have to be collectively on the same pattern, on the same voice, and on the same wavelength, or whatever type of language you want to use. But say we're in solidarity, and if one brother's gonna need, that's why I kind of get frustrated with the whole taking a knee thing, because if it ain't all of us, it really don't mean.
It don't mean nothing. No,
Colin made a statement.
I agree, but that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like in the NBA, all those brothers are doing a certain thing. They're speaking up and they're standing out. So they're
Right.
collective in their movement. The NFL, you got dudes on the same team that's putting their hand on your shoulder, or Drew Brees coming to talk. We gonna
Doing
lock
the lock on
arms.
the arms.
Don't-
Yeah.
We're not preaching unity. The only reason the owners even kneeled is because he attacked the NFL.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
attacked their brand. They're like, you ain't gonna tell us how to control our boys.
Right.
It wasn't nothing to
Right.
do with
But-
Colin Kaepernick.
And
It
I
wasn't
think the
nothing to
only
do with
reason
us
that
making a
became
mockery.
an issue
Even
is
Ray
because
Lewis.
we did it.
Yeah.
The
He's horrible.
only reason it became an issue, I should not look to the owners to do
Right,
anything.
exactly.
But if there was a brother on my team, which is the entire team,
entire
why am
70%.
I kneeling by myself?
Right.
Why do I
Exactly.
need explanation? Why do I need all the facts? Brother, I'm saying we are collectively going to say that there is injustices against our community,
Exactly.
and we going to kneel.
Right.
100%.
Brother, I'm with you. Kneel.
Yes.
But
Right.
and if I'm a basketball player, if the brothers on the other side of the field are doing this, I'm with that. And I'm
I
taking a
feel
knee
you.
too.
I
Like
feel you.
we always, I don't know, like we want individuality in the movement, but that's like saying too many chefs in the kitchen, ain't nothing getting cooked, right? So like, we just need to follow the example that's been made. You didn't have an action plan until Colin took one. So why are you
Right.
trying to make your own now?
Sure.
No,
Yeah, I
that's
feel
not
you.
mine. Well, brother, you didn't have one in the first place.
Yeah.
So just take what he has.
Right.
Nah, I feel you. I feel you on that.
We have to get connected, because one of the things is, I think we said it on a previous episode, that one of the greatest tactics that those who do not like any type of movement to happen is, we'll just draw it out.
Distraction.
We'll drag it out.
Right.
Distraction.
We'll drag it out.
Right.
You know, because even like we're talking about this issue now, but we still have the issue of DACA. We still have the issue of
Flint.
Flint, right?
Let's talk about
No
all the
water.
Right,
natural
Flint.
disasters.
You know,
Flint
we
still
have the
has
issues
no
of
clean
talking about
water.
immigration, right? All these things, and politicians who do not want to deal with it, they do not want change, right? They say, well, we'll just create a new issue.
Collectively, if across, I want the visual of across the country on a Sunday, every single African American football player in the United States of America does not stand and takes a knee
I
for the
agree.
national.
That's
across
awesome.
the
I agree.
board.
That's
That
Can you
statement
imagine
alone,
how
no,
right?
it causes the conversation.
Yeah.
Because the people who are mad, they still can be mad because we're all ain't doing it. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's just you.
Right.
It's
Right.
just you and your homies that are mad. But when we all, and then there's brothers and sisters in the stands and they sit it.
Yeah.
And then it's the newscasters, it's the freaking referee if he on the field. He
Right.
takes a knee. It shows a collective movement.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, okay, now the dialogue is being increased. The dialogue now translates to, not just the brothers and sisters calling their legislation. It's now, because remember, nothing really happened until white folks got mad too.
Right.
Until
That's
Trump
Martin Luther
said
King was not even was not a dialogue point until I can't remember the rabbi that
Yeah.
got with
It
him.
was James Reed that
Right?
died.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
again. So I want, as much as I know we are infuriated, we are upset, we are done. It's not until those with the privilege
Are affected.
Speak out.
to be mad or not be mad decide to be mad with us
Right.
that there collectively comes a conversation, and the conversation I think is what translates to, okay, we need to have some criminal justice reform.
So, as Christians, what do you all think that we can do to kind of make our voices heard and to promote God's, mission for justice on behalf of the players, on behalf of the Black community, just for all of us? What do you think we can do as, followers of Christ?
For me personally, it's been a lot of prayer, and like real prayer, not just like saying, "Oh, I'm praying," but like prayer about wisdom of how and what I say, because there's so many things like emotionally you just want to react sometimes,
Right.
but like that's not going to do anything to help. So how can I communicate like what we're trying to do, what we're trying to change, find people who are like-minded, and not only like-minded, but in position to kind of help assist in any way I can do. Like conversations like this are great, but who else can I help? Who else can I reach out to, connect with, that we can really like make an actual change to? So that just the prayer and the wisdom of how to move forward the right way and the correct way.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think one of my biggest prayers at night when I go to bed is, God, when I pray for things, for blessings, or for God to heal this area of my life, God, give me the wisdom so that I know how to handle it and so that I can use it to glorify you. So with that being said, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like, share, repost, retweet, do all of that good stuff for us. Thank you for watching The Well. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the description box below. We'd love to hear from you. Next time on The Well.
Looking for more West State TV original content? Like and subscribe to make sure you never miss a video.